All right. Hey everyone, welcome to Boss Generation Live. My name is Candace and I'm the founder and CEO of Boss Generation, which is an organization dedicated to addressing student loan debt for Black women and women of color. Boss Generation is the one-stop shop for folks who want support navigating their student loans and for folks who want to support proactive solutions to help our cause. And so today we're going to be talking with financial planner Chiquita Rowe, and she's going to give us some expert advice and some tips on how we can, one, build up our emergency savings, as well as some tips on navigating student loan debt. Hi, Chiquita.
Hi, Miss Candace. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you. Excited for this afternoon, hanging out with you ladies.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, definitely welcome to Boss Generation's first ever live chat. And I'm so excited to be chatting with you. So I definitely want to share some information about you really quick for the folks, and then we'll get into this conversation.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So Chiquita has been in the financial industry for over 30 years and worked for a Fortune 500 company before launching her own independent financial planning company. So she is definitely a real boss, and I'm just super excited that you are joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Candace. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to thank you so very much. You know,
Yes.
the opportunity to join you and partner up with Boss Generation and just to be in awe with your vision for women
Thank
and
you.
young women of color. So love your mission, inspiring those ladies to achieve greatness. You know,
Thank you.
I'm looking
Yes.
to sharing your vision with others, particularly my niece there in California. She's about 15, maybe going on 16 years now.
Okay.
For doing what you're doing and encouraging our young ladies.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you. So first things first, before we get into our questions, I definitely would love for you to share just a little bit about who you are, where you're from.
Yeah. Thank you so much again. Yes, I am Chiquita. I'm actually, as Candace mentioned before, I'm actually from the wonderful state of Oklahoma, but been here over the last 30 something odd years raising our children. We have two beautiful children. They're all grown and have two beautiful grandchildren now, and who's really supportive and has been supportive over the past 36 years. Love him to death. So love what I do. I just love my passion as well, just to giving back to the community as much as I can, and particularly when it comes to financial planning and just financial literacy altogether. My goal is to stomp out financial literacy and just to make sure that, my mission is really not leaving any families behind and when financial planning for their future. So looking forward to it. And I'm here to help answer any.
Yes, I love that. And I love that that idea of you saying you're here to stomp out financial illiteracy. No, I love that. And that is so important and so critical to us as women and to us as Black women and women of color. So thank you for saying that. So definitely curious, what inspired you to become a financial planner or a money coach?
I've always had the drive to really understand the importance of how money works. A lot of times we just don't get that opportunity because it's really not ingrained in our community. And sometimes,
Hmm.
um, we didn't even really understand finances even when we were going to school. I think that the closest thing we got to probably understanding in how to build our career, or excuse me, our savings, is to understanding how to balance a checkbook. You know,
Right.
that was just about it, right? So the financial industry is not known, for its diversity, unfortunately, in
Right.
terms of gender and race, right? So intersectional discrimination has turned the careers of Black women in finance into a really deep uphill battle,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, not enough of us women of color
Hmm.
are. We're resilient still. There's still a lot of American women in the financial field. And so So again, that's my passion, understanding how money works, and hoping I can, teach others really how important that is in building and trying to figure out this whole financial puzzle as we move forward in our lives and our careers and things of that nature. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, for clarity, definitely would love for you to share what exactly is a financial planner? Like, what exactly do you do, and how do you help folks with some of that big picture planning when it comes to our financial sustainability?
Yeah, sustainability is really understanding again really how money works, and thinking and helping people understand really instead of just going in and putting your funds in a regular savings account, that's good for a certain period. But when you're talking about building your wealth, trying to sustain that wealth and build that wealth for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, for a charity even, it takes a little bit more focus and working with someone to help you move through that process, right? So yeah, it's really really important that we understand what our goals are. you know Mentioned to you before, in order for you to determine what type of trip you want to take or where you want to go, you have to kind of plan for that. You just don't automatically figure out, okay, I'm getting ready to go get on the road and take a trip. Well, okay, good, but you got to plan for it, right? And so it's just like finances, building your career. There's a GPS associated with that, and so you want to make sure that your financial house is in order. That comes with determination, with commitment, and maybe sacrificing, a little bit to get to where you want to get to in terms of the bigger picture. Just thinking outside the box.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you mentioned about, wanting to be financially stable and how, having that goal, it definitely takes specific action steps, right? So you definitely, you don't just happen upon a particular goal, right? But you set that goal and then you have those particular action steps that will support you along the way to actually get you to achieving your goal. So I appreciate you definitely mentioning that and sharing that with us. I'm also
Yeah.
curious too, because we know that we, as Black women and women of color, we are navigating and we are facing. We're facing a wealth gap. And so I'm just curious in terms of, when it comes to financial sustainability for Black women and women of color, what are some of the disparities that you are seeing with our group?
You know, just imagine, Candace, having to work 7 extra months, just to earn the same pay as,
Mm-hmm.
as your counterpart, as your male counterpart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a reality, unfortunately. And according to the census, the U.S. Census, on average, Black women were paid 63% of what non-Hispanic white men were paid in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
That means it takes a typical Black woman, African American woman, 19 months to be paid what the average white man will take home in 12 months. So the disparities are real. Studies have shown that women of color, uplift everyone. And when we are
Yeah.
uplifted, everyone wins,
Yeah.
right?
Everyone wins.
There are studies out there, according to the Goldman Sachs, that indicates reducing the earning gap for Black women has the potential to create, anywhere between 1.3 and 1.7 million U.S. jobs, which increase
Wow.
GDP, right? So therefore, there are initiatives out there that really understand the importance and what we do and what value we can bring to the economy. With billions of dollars out there at stake to address that disproportionate gender. In terms to African American, when it comes to African American women and the biases that are out there. So there are initiatives out there, which is good. But we still, of course, have a long way to go, but we keep fighting keep whatever industry that you're in, you want to make sure that you bring value to whatever you're doing, and
Mhm.
think about the other women behind you or in front of you, on side of you, to collaborate and bring those other women around. And in which I really appreciate what you're doing for us, as African American women and young girls. So kudos to you. Keep the fight. Keep the fight.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. The gender pay gap is so real, and it definitely is impactful when it comes to folks being able to pay their student loan debt. So definitely, I appreciate you for mentioning that. So Boss Generation has such a unique community of women. We have current college students. We have women who've graduated from college or from their higher education journeys, some folks who have decided to work on their advanced degrees, some folks who are well into their career, raising children, starting
Mhm.
businesses, and all points in between. So, what advice would you give a current college student who may think it's too early to start thinking about saving and staying out of debt?
Well, what I would say is it's never too early, and it's never too late, right? So there's always going to be room to save money
Mhm.
because life happens, you
Yes.
know, bills continue, we got to eat, we got to, make sure our family is protected. Make sure that we have a roof over our head for our babies, right? And for our families. So
Mhm.
it's just never too late. The key is just to get started, right? Whatever it is. You may want, if you just have 5%, 10% of whatever you bring in, let's put it into some type of savings account, even if it's at the bank, just for a short period of time, just to build that emergency savings. You
Right.
know, we recommend, as financial coaches, we recommend you have at least 3 to 6 months of income,
Yeah.
right? Because, with the situation that we in, or just trying to come out of the pandemic right now, you
Mhm.
know, we have learned that, if we didn't, having an emergency savings is really important, because we lost jobs, we still had to eat, we still had to pay bills, but
Yes.
did not have a pot of money 3 to 6 months to sustain us,
Mhm.
you know. So, which was unfortunate. So the good thing about it, through this pandemic, we have learned to really determine really what's important,
Mhm.
and what's needed, you
Mhm.
know. And I think now, with me mentally, I mean, I most definitely, have changed my thinking in terms of, really, do I really need that, or is it a
Right.
want,
Right. Exactly.
and if you know that it's a want, then let's just put that little 10% away in the savings account, just to start building that emergency savings. So
Mhm.
I think it's very, very important. So the longer you wait, it impacts your goal of saving. So I encourage you both, encourage everyone to just start saving,
Mhm.
whether it's a little bit or just a lot of it, and continue to pay off that debt, or pay down that debt,
Yeah.
as much as possible. Not only is saving important, but you also really want to save, and save it appropriately, and in a smart way,
Mhm.
based on short term, midterm, or long term goal. So
Mhm.
I probably just
Yeah.
went a little bit off the handle there with your question. So
No, 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 no. This is great. This is great. This is what we've come to hear. So I definitely hear you saying it's never too early to, prioritize saving, and definitely wanting to build up that emergency savings, and have an eagle eye on, watching student loan debt and paying that down. So
right.
then my next question would be, what advice would you give someone who is well into their career? Let's say maybe in their 30s, late 30s, 40s or so.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to them? Because, some folks may think, maybe it's too late for me to get started, right? So, what advice would you give to that demographic?
Yeah, yeah. Those individuals, that demographic, they're just pretty much starting their career, within, 5 years, just getting on the job and really starting saving. You taking advantage of that company's 401k, or that company's 403b, whatever IRA account that company has to offer. And if they're not working for a company, they're working for themselves. So they're taking advantage of Roth IRAs, SEP IRAs, anyway, the mutual fund in the stock market, right? So therefore, you are building your accumulation, you're building that wealth, for that midterm and long-term savings, and on. And so those individuals are, I wanted to mention to you, because some of us do understand, what Albert Einstein brought to us many, many years ago.
Right.
He was really the one who really cultivated and explored the rule of 72, right? He is the one that really helps us understand, or help understand, what compound interest is, and understanding that it is the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of us really don't know what that concept is. Now, the wealthy individuals do, but like you and I, who really don't have that expertise around us, we're not understanding that. And because of that, understanding that rule of 72 will let you know really how long it will take for your funds to double. And so those individuals who are in that demographic of 30 years and older, they're understanding, they're getting a grasp of really what compounding interest means and what it could mean, in the future. So, example, the rule of 72, if you take 72 and divide it against your interest rate that you're getting, at the bank, or even when you are invested in the market, and if you divide that by the interest rate, it'll give you it will let you know how long your funds will double, So, for example, if you were to, put $10,000 in your savings account, and they're paying 1%, just keep the math simple. Now, we know the banks are not paying 1%, but for simplicity purposes, but it would take, 72 years for that $10,000 to turn into $20,000.
Okay. My goodness.
So a lot of times we don't understand that process of thinking. And so if like Albert Einstein indicates, if you understand compound interest, then you understand how it works, and you understand that you don't have to pay that interest if you don't want to. It works for us, and then it works against us, the interest. So think about your credit cards that you're paying.
Yes.
This credit card is what 21 to 24%,
Astronomical.
crazy. My husband says, you know what, I was looking at my statement for my credit card, and they said it is 24% interest. I says, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that we're paying the bank, $300 and $400 a month for that 24% interest. But what is that bank doing, right? That bank is turning around and taking that $300 and $400, and they are utilizing the rule of 72, and they're in a double-digit rate of returns, right? And so that $400 that they're getting, it's doubling much quicker for them, right? So they're taking advantage of that 24% that we're paying, right? So that interest rate can work for you, and it can also work against you, right? So.
Absolutely. One of the issues with student loan debt is that, the interest that accrues over time is just, again, astronomical. And so it definitely has such an impact when it comes to folks, saying, okay, now I need to come up with a plan to figure out how to pay it down or pay it off. A lot of times folks are struggling even with that interest. So yes, I definitely hear you when you're talking about interest working for us or working against us. And definitely in that particular case, is working against us. I did want to mention too, I know that you're going to go in depth with compound interest at the scheduled workshop that we're going to be doing on Thursday, April 22nd. Just wanted to plug that in. I'm definitely going to mention that again at the end of our conversation when we wrap up. But yes, definitely want to have an opportunity to do a deep dive into how to get our money to double. I mean, who doesn't want their money to double?
Absolutely. Who does, especially when you're thinking outside the box and you're thinking long term.
Yeah.
Building that wealth for you and your family, for sure.
Yes. Well, definitely would love for you to share, what are, maybe 3 or 4 important financial priorities do you think folks should focus on, particularly as we are navigating COVID?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that first of all, what comes into my mind is that building that emergency savings.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just, like I said, at least 5%, 10%, of whatever you bring in, let's start building that emergency savings so that in the future, you have something to fall on, in case we come into another pandemic like this, or even just something simple. You may have a flat tire, your car needs some work, or, hot water tank went out, whatever the case
Right.
may be. Instead of you pulling out that credit card, getting more into debt, let's use that emergency savings, that 3 to 6 months that you saved up of your income to utilize that. All right. And then number two would really be just kind of keeping your student debt current. You may not be able to, in a position to pay it off, but at least keep it current. Mm-hmm. Then that way, you keep your credit score pretty high, because once you have a good credit score, the sky's the limit. You can really get into ownership of your home,
Right.
that nature, buying land, whatever the case may be, or even starting a business, you're doing. You want to have some good credit. And a lot of times, unfortunately, that student loans, if it's not up to current, or if it's fallen off,
Right.
that it'll kill your credit score. So you want to make sure that you're on top of that. And we can talk through those things when we meet, with the young ladies. And then we can just really be the proper protection, whether that be your health insurance, your disability insurance, your life insurance, right? So whatever it takes to replace that income, if there was a premature death would occur, right? So to you before, the biggest asset is really that person, or your partner, your husband, whatever, your wife, whoever is bringing in that income on a consistent basis, that's your biggest asset. And when that is gone, oh my goodness, and when you don't have the proper life insurance in place of that, or even the health insurance or disability, then that becomes a strain on the family resources. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I am so happy that you brought up the concept of insurance. I mean, because a lot of times, a lot of us are maybe one emergency away from having a tremendous financial challenge. So definitely appreciate you mentioning the idea of not only building up your savings and paying down your debt, but then having a plan for protecting your money. And a lot of times, that comes through. Having those protections like you talk about, having the life insurance, disability insurance, and things of that nature, health insurance. So thank you. Yes, absolutely. So
And
before we close out, what is one thing that you want folks to remember when it comes to managing finances?
Yeah, just think about financial planning as just maybe thinking outside the box, right? I know in our community, financial discussion, financial planning for your financial affairs is just not an easy topic, So if it's not easy to talk with someone like myself, speak with someone that you can really trust, that really kind of that you can bounce things off to figure out a way to figure out your financial puzzle, reaching your goals, those terms, that short, mid, and long-term goal, right? And so, just remember, having someone to help you figure out that puzzle and come to a point where, your financial future is secure. It's really important to sit down and talk with someone about that. Okay. And just remember, it's just never too late. It's never too late to save. The sooner the better, whether if you just want to focus on short term, that 1 year to 2 years, what is your goal? How can I help you reach that particular goal? What do you need to look at? Let's take a look at your entire, all of your debt, your monthly expense. You'd be surprised, if you write those things down, you determine you'll have a lot more money left over. It's like, oh, I'm just spending, $1,000 on a purse, Gucci purse, or maybe $200 or $300 on a pair of tennis shoes, whatever the case may be. Let's not do that for a couple of months, and let's just put that away, for savings. And if I can mention two more other things in terms of financial planning, is that it's long term. Long term saving it's a lifelong strategy. Having those planning strategies sure that you never outlive that income, and putting things in place that make sure that that's not going to happen, right? So we have Social Security, but we don't know if that's going to be around for us. But Social Security really was not a be all end all. It was really a supplement. It's really on our own to figure out how we're going to build our wealth between the time we're ready to work at 16 up until the time we reach 65. Those many years in between there that you have control, and you have to plan, and you have to make sure that whatever you're planning is going to be well enough to where your family, your loved ones can be secure. It's not going to be a strain on the family.
Okay. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I definitely hear you saying, it's never too early, it's never too late to begin thinking about ways to put yourself in a sound financial position. So I definitely appreciate all of that. So thank you so much for dropping some knowledge with us today. I just really appreciate you.
Glad I'm here. Glad to help. And again, it's my passion. It's my goal to make sure that whatever I can do to assist, helping people understand the importance and how you can really have a good, sound, secure financial future is important.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, for folks joining in, make sure to check out our website at boshgeneration.org, as well as to sign up for Chiquita's upcoming workshop that will take place on Thursday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The link is in the bio to be able to sign up for that, as well as Chiquita's website is in our bio as well. So again, thank you so much, Chiquita, for taking time to chat with us today and to just drop some financial gems on us. I can't thank you enough.
And if anyone have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I can certainly answer them for you. If anything is really burning on your heart that really keeps you up at night, financially, let's talk about it. It's nothing wrong to happen. Okay, so I'm here. I'm here for you guys.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining with us today. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. See you all next time. Bye.
Okay. Bye.